Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories. Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Akeredolu, is sworn in as the 6th elected governor of Ondo State. South Africans hold anti-immigrant protests in Pretoria, insists foreign nationals are abusing their country's hospitality. Nigerian Air Force planes strike Boko Haram terrorist hideout at Tagoshe Mandara mountain area in northern Borno. And US President Donald Trump vows to start building a wall on Mexican border ahead of schedule. For more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have the Eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Into some of the pictures that you sent in via Eyewitness portal. Our first picture tonight is from Efurun Sapele Road, Warri in Delta State, where our Eyewitness reporter says there was a fire explosion earlier today at a bank's ATM. He is calling on all relevant authorities to be more responsive to disaster management. This one is from Sapele, also in Delta State, where our Eyewitness reporter sent in a caption of residents staging a no-light, no-pay protest as a result of poor electricity supply in the area. He is urging the electricity distribution company to be alive to its responsibilities. Our next photo is from Lagos Island, where our Eyewitness reporter captured a sight of 3 men carrying a big ram on a motorbike on Abitipa Street. Our Eyewitness reporter describes the act as sharing discipline. Well, the last one for today is from South Africa, where our Eyewitness reporter is sending a distress call on threats to foreign students in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. He says it's a hostile treatment of foreign students and is calling on the Nigerian government for prompt intervention. Well, thank you for sending in those pictures, and we urge you to keep them coming. The Nigerian Air Force says a Boko Haram terrorist hideout has been struck down at the Tagoshe Mandara mountain area about 10 kilometers southwest of Gwoza in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. According to a statement signed by the Air Force spokesman, Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, the strike was a follow-up of intelligence and surveillance operation by the Nigerian Air Force. Group Captain Famuyiwa further stated that remnants of fleeing Boko Haram terrorists were gathered at the location at the time of the strike. A former Senate Majority Leader, Senator Ali Ndume, says more needs to be done to improve the humanitarian situation in the northeast by increasing the budget allocated to the region. While speaking with journalists in the National Assembly, Senator Ndume said over 2.5 million children are malnourished in the region, with other alarming figures highlighting the need for decisive intervention in that region.
In the budget proposal under consideration by the National Assembly, that is this year, only 45 billion is allocated for PCNI. This is grossly inadequate to address the emergency humanitarian crisis we are faced with. Because we have made a case to the National Assembly, the PCNI has written to the Speaker, there is a favorable response, and I have personally raised the issue with the Senate President, and there is a favorable response to increase the budgetary allocation for the humanitarian crisis in the Northeast from 45 billion to a reasonable amount. 2.5 million children are said to be malnourished as a result of the crisis and the poverty level in our area. Majority of them are from Adamawa, Borno and Yobe. I'm very sure today a child will die because of hunger-related issues. And there are some villages that people are dying of hunger and hunger-related issues. International NGOs are more visible and active, except for few individuals, particularly General T.Y. Danjuma retired, and Alhaji Aliko Dangote, some few organizations and NGOs. Nigerians are just watching us. going through this horrific experience in our lifetime.
Into aviation, where all 10 directors at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) have been removed on the orders of the federal government. The announcement of their sack was confirmed by the General Manager of Public Affairs in the agency, Mr. Sam Adeburoye. Those affected by the purge include the Director of Finance and Accounts, Salau Ozigi, Director of Aerodrome and Aerospace Standards, Dr. Joyce Nkema-Kolam, Mr. Abba Ejembi, the Director of Administration, and Mr. Emmanuel Ogumbami, Director of Licensing. No reason was given for the removal, but the affected directors have been asked to hand over to their immediate deputies. In October 2016, the Minister of State for Aviation, Mr. Hadi Sirika, had announced an impending restructuring of agencies under the ministry, including the NCAA and the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency. All right, now let's take you to our Abuja studios where Ivy Clem is standing with more stories. Hello, Ivy.
Thanks, Millicent. Another leader of the gang that kidnapped 8 persons in Tulip International School, Isheri, Ogun State, has been arrested by operatives of the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team. Channels Television gathered that the 32-year-old suspect, Peter Ajanakpo, also known as General Osari, was arrested in Ughelli Town, Delta State. The suspect was alleged to have confessed to collecting 2 million naira and 150,000 naira from the Tulip School and Isheri Estate Secretary as ransom. He is the 8th gang member now in police custody over the Isheri kidnap case, as 7 of them have earlier been arrested in Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, and Delta states. The police have paraded a 4-man gang suspected to be trading on illegally refined petroleum products in the Kirikiri area of Lagos State. Briefing journalists in Abuja, the police public relations officer, Mr. Jimo Moshood, says the suspects were arrested with 8,000 liters of illegally refined diesel. He added that further investigation is ongoing with a view to arresting their collaborators.
On the 6th of February 2017, at about 02:17 hours in the early hours of the morning, after a sustained surveillance and monitoring of empty jazzy vessels and crew members sailing from creeks of Port Harcourt in Rivers State through the waterway to Lagos State with 800,000 liters of illegally refined AGO diesel, the IGP task force on illegal petroleum bunkering unexpectedly swooped on the vessel and its crew members at a location in Kirikiri, area of Lagos State. Arrested the vessels, the crew members on board, and the manager of the Nekon Depot where the illegally refined AGO was discharged. The 800,000 liters of AGO, illegally refined AGO diesel, already discharged by the vessel, was impounded. All the suspects are already in police custody. We have Boko News with the captain of the vessel. The vessel is Anti-Immigrants vessel that was arrested by the police. We have Isuasu Anayo, who is the chief engineer, and Solomon Abuonema, the able seaman. Meanwhile, the investigation is being intensified to arrest their collaborators and sponsors. They will be charged to court on completion of investigation for dealing in subjected illegally refined petroleum product AGO diesel under the Petroleum and Miscellaneous Offences Act.
The long-drawn legal battle in the Assemblies of God Church over the sacking of its General Superintendent, Pastor Paul Emeka, has been resolved by the Supreme Court in favor of the church. The Apex Court dismissed the appeal brought before it by the former General Superintendent and pastor of the church on the ground that his case lacked merit and substance. In the lead judgment delivered by Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, the court held that it was wrong of Pastor Emeka to have instituted an action on the enforcement of his fundamental human right to association in a matter involving the church as a non-governmental organization. Both parties have been giving divergent interpretations of the judgment.
The Supreme Court today dismissed the case filed by Reverend Paul Emeka in the Supreme Court. Whatever claims he was making against the church was finally thrown into the trash bag where it belongs. Today, This means that whatsoever discipline that was imposed on him by the church stands.
The case he filed at the High Court was struck out. It is the appeal that was dismissed. The appeal is what the Court of Appeal decided is wrong. And the court said no, what they decided was not wrong. The appeal also struck out the case, the Court of Appeal. They didn't dismiss the suit, they struck out the case. And here also, the Supreme Court also struck out the case. When the case is struck out, I mean you can go back and file it properly. And that is the position. So he's still standing where he is, and he still has the right to go back now and file the case properly, not under fundamental human rights. He has to go through by what we call writ of summon, the original process. That's what he will now use. And once he uses that, the case starts. So now what they're asking us, go back to square one, go and start all over again. And I think the essence is that perhaps when you sit down and look at the length of time the case might take, both parties might be forced to sit down and say, look, let bygone be bygone, let us settle and continue.
And that's it from Abuja. We'll hand over to our Lagos studios. Millicent is waiting.
Many thanks, Ivy. Well, let's go over to Anambra State, where the Amansi Abattoir project in Awka is at its final stage of completion. The governor of the state, Willie Obiano, during a visit to the facility, expressed satisfaction with the quality and pace of work done. The 50 million naira project is being funded by the state government in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP.
Kwata Abattoir is one of the major slaughterhouses in Awka, the capital of Anambra State. The slaughterhouse is one of the largest in the state, with no less than 50 cows slaughtered every day. It attracts patronage from different parts of the state, as beef remains one of the most common sources of protein in the country. But the unhygienic nature of this abattoir is a constant source of worry to the state government. Governor Willie Obiano's administration, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, have turned things around. This is the New Look Slaughterhouse, located in Amansia, Awka North local government area of the state. Governor Obiano is here to inspect the project, which is about 95% complete. He's taken around the facility by some government officials.
Our objective is to make sure that all the abattoirs in Anambra meet world standard. The era of buying meat in a very dirty environment is what we are trying to curb once and for all. We are going to do this type of abattoir in 6 locations in the 3 senatorial districts. We're trying to improve the health of our people by ensuring that the meat that is being sold to them are prepared in the best hygienic format.
At full capacity, the abattoir can accommodate the slaughtering of 40 cows a day. All that's left is the completion of surrounding buildings and delivery of automated machines.
We started this project about 6 weeks ago, November, towards the end of November, and we had a target to finish our first week in January, and we actually met our target.
Apart from providing a more hygienic environment, the state government believes there are many other benefits that come with this project.
Abattoirs and slaughterhouses are in the state, and they are in this area, and they would all come here, so it will be centralized, and that also on its own will create a number of indirect jobs.
When officially opened, the abattoir will guarantee standard meat processing and ensure a high level of cleanliness.
When the news at 10 returns, federal government announces plan to provide relief measures for poultry farmers in the country. That's on Business News. Join us again.